What an intro. I'm so happy we get intros now. Before we just had to start the stream and just awkwardly kind of come into it. With music, it feels like there's some real energy. And it's a good day to have some energy because we are primed for what is generally, at least in the last couple of years, one of the most chaotic, unpredictable, anarchy-ridden races of the year, the Daytona night race, the cutoff race. And I've brought the only man for the job with me. That's Taco.
Yo, what up?
The
Ready
one
for my
person.
favorite race of the year.
We are on such opposite ends of the spectrum here. I really dislike plate racing. I don't like playing it. I don't like DFS. It's not enjoyable to watch for me. You're the exact opposite.
I mean, it's pretty simple. You enjoy predictability. I enjoy the predictably unpredictable.
I guess that's a good way to say it. Now these slates from a strategy perspective are fairly simple, but there is a large departure from what we normally do on traditional, especially ovals. So we'll get into all that, but I think it's pertinent to start out with the playoff picture, which is pretty clear. Chris Buescher down needs to win their way in. All these drivers need to win to make the playoffs. Understand that if any of these drivers win, it is essentially a $2 million win.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference between being in the playoffs and not in the playoffs. So we talk about the all-star race. What would you do for $1 million?
Yep.
We're racing for $2 million for all these guys that I've highlighted here. So you've got to understand that's where a lot of the carnage comes from in this race. I think the other two things to note are Alex Bowman and Tyler Reddick, 29 points apart. Really hard to make up 29 points in one race, but this is the race where you could do it. So this isn't necessarily set in stone. And understand if one of these guys wins, then it's going to bump either Tyler Reddick or Alex Bowman out of the playoffs. So expect Tyler Reddick and Alex Bowman, or more so Tyler Reddick, to be pretty conservative. I think if he goes out and gets stage points and just tries to survive, he'll make the playoffs pretty comfortable. So look for a pretty muted performance from Tyler Reddick. But from Alex Bowman down, straight anarchy.
Yes.
Straight anarchy. And also understand that there's consequences for the other 15 as well. They're all fighting for regular season point standings, which is playoff points. You also need to consider, and we saw this in a big way at some of the races last year, Bubba Wallace doesn't want to necessarily push Ty Gibbs, or maybe Ty Gibbs is a bad example, but doesn't necessarily want to push AJ Allmendinger to a win because that threatens Tyler Reddick's playoff position. Kyle Larson doesn't want to push Michael McDowell to a win because that threatens Alex Bowman. So you have all these little intricate strategies that play out that make this race really, really hard to kind of, like Taco said, to predict. And I dislike unpredictability, but maybe from a money-making perspective, it's all right. Did I miss anything there, Taco? That's pretty much the gist of what the playoff situation looks like.
Yep. And I mean, it's been complicated the last few weeks. Pretty cut and dry, straightforward now. It's this is the do or die time. Everyone's been talking about got to get our win before it comes down to Daytona. Because realistically, like 30 of these guys could win. Maybe a small handful of people that have no realistic shot. But I mean, as much of the field is in play as it'll ever be. I think only 3 guys are outside of the 100-1 on the odds right now. Like that's just how it is.
Yeah, it's really, really tight. And you look at guys like Chris Buescher plus 1,600. He's a win and he's in guy. Kyle Busch, same way. So there's lots of Brad Keselowski, same way. There's lots of guys here with a lot of incentive.
Buescher behind Keselowski, we might see that a bit today. And if push comes to shove, literally one of my favorite angles is we've seen Buescher and Keselowski push each other a lot at this track. What do you do if you're Brad K? You push your other car into a win, or you knock your own teammate out to win. They both need to win to get in. A lot of I mean, you can see Hocevar and McDowell, not exactly the best of teammates so far at this point, but another situation there. Even Priest, at the end of the day, there will be some marching orders. Like, sure, you gotta, help your teammates out, help your manufacturer out. But at the end of the day, this race is such guaranteed carnage because, I mean, they would all ultimately end up wrecking out their grandma to win this race. Let's be real.
Yeah, and that's another really important angle that you kind of touched on there. Like, even beyond teams, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, and Austin Cindric have long been the most impressive on plate races, at least in the next gen era. What are their priorities? Because from a Ford perspective, if they help Chris Buescher, if they help Ryan Preece, if they help Brad Keselowski, they can knock a Chevrolet out, they can knock a Toyota out, and bring another Ford into the picture, especially considering all the Penske guys are already locked into the playoffs. So who's to say that, Ford's main objective here is to get a win for a Chris Buescher or a Ryan Preece or a Brad Keselowski or, a Zane Smith or whatever. So there's a lot of different little manufacturer things that play into this, and it could be really interesting.
Yeah, and this is less of a race where going driver by driver really matters, and it's kind of about looking at these big pictures here. Like, overall, start with the manufacturer odds. Not often do we see Ford to be the favorite. It's the super speedways. We have Ford as a slight favorite over Chevrolet and Toyota the distant third. This is the only track type where Toyota is going to be a distant third.
Listen, we shouldn't have talked shit earlier, because look who has just appeared in the stream.
Boom.
From the rafters. Didn't want to miss the Daytona breakdown. Kevin,
it's too good of a race.
The geek Alan has joined the stream.
I loaded up yesterday also. I loves me some super speedway. I like that carnage.
Oh my, it was so good. The wrecks were all so good yesterday until Honeyman got taken out. Dude, Honeyman was carrying me yesterday. It's so sad to see. And
I was
Decker is about to get a top 10.
I was all over the leaderboard, and just at the very end, something happened that squeezed me out of, I still made money, but it was squeezed me out. I will say this. I did 2 runs yesterday on the Dom station. Okay? 2 runs. And I was testing it. I did 1 run on the cheaper games and 1 on the more expensive games. And the change I made, I used the exact same settings, but one I put very, very aggressively low total ownership cap on it. Mm-hmm. And that run did way better. Mm-hmm. And ownership caps, it's king.
Yesterday ended up being a really, really interesting kind of instance, because we got the carnage we expected, but a lot of the guys that started in the top 10 just made it through, and it ended up being kind of a hybrid carnage, not carnage type of race, even though there was plenty of carnage. This race is almost twice as long, and there's a lot more, not to say there's more on the line, I would say. Like I said, this is a $2 million win for all these guys, so I expect even more carnage tonight.
Love it. Is this I'm assuming this is also cup points and all that other stuff?
Oh, this is the cutoff race. It's winner get in.
Oh shit!
We went over it.
Yeah, these guys below the cutoff line, they're going to push an infant child out of the way to get to victory lane here tonight.
Which means they're going to crash or fall to the back.
Yeah, for a guy like Brad Keselowski, for a guy like Ricky Stenhouse Jr., there is no point in coming back with a fully intact race car unless you also have a trophy.
I don't think that. I mean, I'm curious to your guys' thought on that. My general thought is aggressive driving to need to win in Daytona is probably bad. It's what I want. I want to avoid that.
It's bad for everyone except for one person. So, yeah, a lot of the guys are already locked in. I guess you could pencil them in as being a little bit safer. But remember, when it comes to aggressive driving here, 10% of the people involved in accidents deserved it. There's a lot of friendly fire here. A lot of people minding their own business. And, well, I guess I'm in the middle of a giant wreck.
Yeah, for sure. Let's hop into this before I do want to burn through some of these comments. Keselowski, best drafter out of all the guys, not in the playoffs. That's probably fair.
And is a race favorite.
Yeah. And like I said, you don't really know what the goal of the Ford camp is today. I suspect RFK will play a central part in this race, even more so than Penske. Anyone can win this race, especially with the added weather. Could potentially be massive chaos. Yeah, absolutely. I haven't checked what the weather is, but there's always lightning. There's always rain, and
it's Florida, so there's no point checking.
Yeah, we can check about 2 minutes before and still be wrong. How many laps does Blaney lead? Penske has the most laps led on drafting trap. Not predictable as far as I'm concerned.
I would be shocked if any of the 4 Penskes led laps. I mean, we've seen Josh Berry hasn't finished a super speedway race yet in his Cup career, but he's led a significant amount of laps. Like, we've seen all the Penske cars be pretty much even. So Blaney's guaranteed nothing. He's not even guaranteed to lead lap 1.
Yeah, it could get really messy in different strategies, fuel saving stuff. It's really hard to say. But generally speaking, last night notwithstanding, not a great idea to play the pole sitter at plate tracks. What's the line if anyone's going to lead a bunch of lap early? It's Blaney or Logano for sure. Probably, but I think we often see these 2 lines get formed where they're just kind of fuel saving at the front, and guys, the inside line and the outside line are kind of just trading fast or laps led. That's what makes me nervous, because Logano or Blaney could be on the outside line, but only leading, 1 in every 3 laps because they're jostling up front. So really hard to say. The show is about, I assume that's geek slander, which I won't have. I won't have it.
Diabolical hating.
But I will. Yesterday I said, and I'm going to mute Geek because he's not going to like this. But I did say yesterday, I think it was Mr. Sider. He said that he wanted a promo code for NASCAR. We got it done. So if you go over to dfsarmy.com, you get access to all of these tools, including, like I always say, the most important piece of literature in my life week to week. If Taco stops putting these together, it literally ruins my life. It is the greatest collection of information for any given race you could ever get. The research station for every single race, Trucks Xfinity Cup. You get unlimited access to all of this. You can make a copy of it and you can play. It becomes a points calculator. I just messed it up because I don't
think you can finish 50th.
But my point is, this is super valuable. You also get our thoughts on every single driver every single week. And that is before you even get to the domination station, which will help you build all your lineups up to 400 lineups, 600 lineups, but easy 100. Let's make 125. I really like Chase Elliott. I really like Denny Hamlin. Optimize. Boom. You've got 150 lineups all made. Obviously it's a lot more intricate than that, but it's that easy to get started. Head on over to the link in the description, dfsarmy.com/NASCAR. Get signed up. I got you half off your first month. Half off your first month. That's unheard of. That's not even legal. Well, get him out of here. Let's go. Hold on. I got to get the promo code out. Well, I have it here somewhere. Where is it? Before he comes back. Daytona 25. Daytona 25. I will put it in the chat. Go over to dfsarmy.com/NASCAR. Promo code Daytona 25. Get you half off your first month. Do it now before Geek cancels that promo code. And this is a really great week to get signed up because we have a really good slate. Taco just talked about how much he loves Daytona. I love Darlington in the same way. We also have a road course race next week. It's a really interesting slate. And next week, we're doing the Xfinity and the truck streams behind the paywall. So if you're not signed up, if you're not a DFS Army member, you won't have access to those streams. We'll do the Cup Series one for everyone. But if you want access to everything for the next month, half off, Daytona 25, dfsarmy.com. Link is in the description to get signed up. I've done my selling. We can let Kevin back in. Look at him. Furious.
I don't know who authorized this. Where was I? What did I left for a couple of hours. You guys are giving away the farm.
Listen, we made an executive decision. The people need to get involved. And this is a good week too, because Taco, this is a secret of the industry. NFL starts to ramp up. Guys start to have a little money in their account. They want a little sweat on Friday or Saturday night before the big game comes on Sunday. There's a lot of fish in these contests for the first couple NFL weeks. This is a really good time to get involved.
More than you'd think. What was it? We saw just a week ago, we had SVG starting like ridiculously too high. and he still ended up like 5% owned or something. Like it's still very soft out there.
Yeah, and maybe even at some point this week, we'll maybe on Thursday or Friday or something, we'll see what the appetite is. We'll do a snake draft stream or something and see if we can find some value on some of that early stuff. That'd be fun too. But anyway, head on over, links in the description. Daytona 25. That promo code still works. You might have only till the end of the stream before it starts working.
Guys,
anyway,
I need to lock button a driver today.
All right, let's get into it. I'm going to bow out here because Taco, you can speak to this stuff much more articulately than I can. But this is the most important.
And we've just added to it this week. Scroll down a little bit. Look, the optimal lineup fantasy point trends table. You can see the exact scores for each of our last, it'd be 7 optimals since the next gen era. So you can see here, you need at least 53 fantasy points. Whoever that is, we're going to use that number as we go throughout this pod. Let's call it 55 because it seems like most races here, you need at least 55 fantasy points to be optimal. Salaries irrelevant, so we don't care about value one bit. We are leaving thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars off the board here. It just doesn't matter. You sort by fantasy points on the DS when looking at who your top plays are. You don't even worry about salary. So it's just all about points here. All about the path to 55 points. Who's going to get you those 55 fantasy points, and what do they have to do? What range of outcomes do you need to hit 55? That is the game we are playing here.
Yeah, and that's a really great way to put it. What is the situation where this guy gets 55 points, and does it correlate with this other guy that I need?
Mm-hmm.
Now, correlation at Daytona doesn't really exist. Maybe this is more so relevant to other track types, but tell yourself that story. How is this driver going to get me 55 points? And if you scroll up, you can see it's really linear for Cup Series. The further they start back, generally speaking, the better play they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you can see, look at the 50 points there. 4% of the time, guys starting in the top 4 hit 50 points. Let's go to 60 because we saw a lot of the time 60 was the minimum. 0% of the time, never. Anyone in the top 12 has gotten 60 points. But over a third of the time, if you're starting 35th or back, you get 60 points. That's what we're working with here. It's why
relevant is that 30, there is a reasonable rate of like the second half, like outside of the top 10, top 20, though, like 10 through 20. It's a kind of reasonable shot of them getting you that mid 50s score. So you can't fully unfriend everybody there because it's kind of like that mid 50s kind of may get there.
Yeah, it's really an interesting spot. I want to go and sort this by laps. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Hold on. Historical.
Yeah, just go off of just starting position, yeah. Or I guess we can, show the dominator points here. You can see almost nobody really leads a ton of laps. And if you look at the lap leaders here, Ford, and then Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott back in
got negative points.
Who ended up scoring negative points. But yeah, the one thing I did want to point out here, we're sorted by laps led. So these are your dominators. Look how many of them barely ended up scoring anything.
Look how many became optimal. One time, Ryan Blaney, 53.5, also known as the lowest fantasy point score to be optimal in the last 3 years.
Yeah, so it really we really hammered this point home last night, but really do not focus on domination at all in this race. You don't need to worry about dominators. If we sort by starting position, this is the next gen era of races at Daytona.
I guess sorted by fantasy points and then starting position, so we can see just the scale, right? And you can see, we're barely scoring positive if we're a pole sitter.
And you can see on the side it's marked which one of these drivers hit the optimal. And as I scroll down, the further I scroll down, the more common those yeses start to become. As I get into the 30s, it's almost 50% in some instances versus when you scroll up the top, it's much harder. So really heavy place differential. Don't worry about salary. Jim Paris says is 16,900. No, there's not. there's no such thing as too much left. If you didn't fill out a lineup, you're still probably going to finish in the top half because a lot of these lineups are going to go negative across the board.
Let me introduce you to the 2022 version of this race where we had Cody Ware, BJ McLeod, David Reagan in a Rick Ware racing car, all finished top. Oh, Landon Castle finishing fourth also.
Yeah,
and Noah Gragson in a beard car. That was the optimal. The optimal left, I think it was $22,000 off of the table.
No, that was such a glorious one.
Yeah, that was it. Literally 33rd to 37th was the optimal. So no such thing as too much left on the table. Really focus on place differential. Really lean into the carnage of this race. If this race somehow, some way just ends up going green and Joey Logano wins and leads 100 laps, you just write that one off as we had a bad weekend.
Or last night, people are going to chase last night. Oh, the pole sitter was optimal. You know why the pole sitter is optimal? I think in my eyes, tell me, is Connor Zilic not just a main character coming into this? Like,
yeah,
he is such a main character trope just walking in here. That is absolutely not going to happen here. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Mr. Ryan Blaney. You're good at Talladega, right? But
so let's head over to.
Wait. Doris needs to weigh in on Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, Doris.
I'd unfriend you. That's not how it works.
That is how it works.
So let's head over to the main screen here. And usually we would sort by salary, but for plate races, irrelevant. So let's just sort by starting position. And remember, our point of reference is 55 points. Mm-hmm. So let's take out all of this. Ryan Blaney can't even get to 55 points if he, starts first and wins and leads one lap. He's still 10 points short. So he needs to start first, win, lead 20 laps, have 5 fast laps, still not there. 25, he's starting to get there. 30. You see how unlikely it is for these guys to start up front and hit the optimal. So Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, like these guys, like the probability of them scoring 55 points is just so low. To Geek's point, hold on.
I'd unfriend you. That's not how it works.
I got to get a bye Felicia in here too, by the way, Brady. For mental note.
I'll make a note. I have
mental
my note pattern. So Taco, for you, when does this start getting interesting? Is it at William Byron? Is it at Brad? Brad Keselowski is probably the correct answer.
Yeah, for me, it's Keselowski. Byron, it's understandable because he's probably good at super speedway racing and has won here 3 times. It becomes interesting. He could be like the top of the Hendrick line. Logano and Cindric are just barely out of range. We have seen historically the guys who have just squeaked into the optimal starting like 8th or so. Your Blaney's and Cindrics of the world, but realistically, it's like a 1% chance I'm not really chasing. It doesn't matter. And even if they do barely squeak into the optimal, there's still a very good chance that the perfect lineup still isn't built. So I'm not really caring about these guys. I might have a very small sprinkle of Keselowski just because I am extremely interested in his teammates. And this is the one race where stacking teams has worked in the past. We've seen the Roush stack work. Obviously, especially the 500, they're pushing each other. We've seen Penske stacks work before, but that's if they don't qualify as well, which lately they've just been qualifying way too good for that to work. Hendrick stack possible, but not quite as good as Hendrick stacking in some other spots. So yeah, it's got to be Keselowski for me where it starts to get interesting. I'm not going to chase the Byron wins.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about like Connor Zilic being the main character of the Xfinity series, on a much lesser scale, I tend to believe that Brad Keselowski will play a main character type of role in this race tonight. Mm-hmm. He'll be a part of a lot of stories. And when you go back and you think, the RFK guys are going to push him. Chris Buescher is going to have to push Brad Keselowski to a win, but I suspect the Penske guys will be there to help Brad as well. I suspect Ford wants another Ford in the playoffs. They know how good Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, and Austin Cindric are at this type of racing, and they do not need a win. They are already all locked in. I suspect Brad Keselowski, and to a lesser extent, Chris Buescher and Ryan Preece, who we'll talk about, but Brad Keselowski will be best case scenario winner for a lot of this field, especially the Fords.
That's just great company to have. If you've got Penske helping you out at Super Speedway, that's a huge bump. So obviously I'm all over all the RFK guys, and I say all over, but for a top 10 starting position at Daytona of all places, for me to even be somewhat interested in, that's just goes to show the power of Keselowski, who came in as the race favorite, is still among the race favorites. I don't know why the odds really changed after qualifying. It wasn't even qualifying; it was rained out. But whatever. He's still pretty much the favorite.
And you want to talk about the power of Keselowski? Ryan Preece employed by him. Chris Buescher employed by him. Ryan Blaney got his first ride from him. Austin Cindric got his first ride from him. Joey Logano, former, still probably very close friends. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people in this field that owe a lot to Keselowski. So I think he will be a main character. That he is the first one on this list. He's starting 10th that I will have more than a couple shares of. He's somebody that I can see myself getting up to 10 to 15%. And somebody that
we have an ownership projection on Keselowski here around 16%. So 1/6. So the question is over or under or field weight? Because that's under. A lot of exposure. You're over. All right. Talk to me, guys.
No, under, definitely. I mean, when I say splash, I'm playing like 5% Keselowski. I'm probably almost all stacked with Buescher.
Yeah, I'll probably be a little more aggressive than Taco would be just because the narrative makes sense. But I still have you wouldn't want to go up to 20%, I don't think. I think 15 is probably the upper limit if you really believe in the narrative. I'll probably find myself at like 7 to 8% and then invest in him on the sports books, whether it's to win stages or win the race, top 3, top 5, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's probably going to be difficult to get leverage on Brad K, regardless. But a guy you don't want to ignore either way.
It's also, listen, it's okay not to have leverage, but just to say, all right, listen, if this guy does it, even 5-6% may be acceptable if you really nail your other shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it just kind of falls into Josh Berry, Daniel Suarez, Zane Smith. Okay, fine spots. All guys, or I should say Josh Berry doesn't need to win. Daniel Suarez does. Zane Smith does. But just not in a position to get too involved from a DFS perspective.
Yeah, I just wish Cindric started a little bit further back because he was the best car at Daytona in the spring. It's just, like we saw, starting top 5, it's pretty much impossible to score enough fantasy points.
Yeah,
he wasn't even optimal there, and he led like most of the race.
Then we get to Kyle Busch, who needs to win, has been embarrassed by his teammate, who dominated Richmond last week, and Kyle Busch was not competitive. Kyle Busch desperately needs a win here, but Taco and Geek, I know you guys have watched NASCAR for long enough. What are the odds Kyle Busch finishes this race at all? Not great, I would say. Because he's got to do something stupid.
And is the nuts? I mean,
yeah. I mean, Kyle Busch will win or leave on a record here, I suspect. We have seen Kyle Busch be slightly competitive in the next gen era on.
Oh, you're right. Era.
Yeah, the next gen era of plate racing, but nothing matters here except first place. And I go back to what I said earlier. If you're not going to win this race, there is no point of coming back with an intact car. So I suspect Kyle Busch will be hyper aggressive. And to Kevin's point earlier, that's not always the best for fantasy results. Christopher Bell just kind of grades out as not relevant, really. He's been really good at Daytona, but doesn't start far enough back, doesn't have a lot to race for other than a couple regular season spots. Any interest in Christopher Bell from anybody in the room?
He's like, for me, he's just a real whatever sort of play. Like, there's nothing that really sticks out. One Atlanta, sure, but I don't really care all that much. It's just the Toyotas is just not the best spot for Toyota overall. I don't have a lot of hope for them.
I mean, I've already unchecked him on my Dom station, if that helps you get my sense of him. He's one of the unfriends alongside with Kyle Busch and Berry and Suarez and all these guys who are starting too far forward to possibly matter.
There you go. It's that easy. Carson Hocevar, slightly interesting, kind of in that Kyle Busch discussion. Probably going to be hyper aggressive. Probably doesn't have a whole lot of friends in the field. Probably not a whole lot of people in this field that would be happy to see him win. But he has been pretty competitive on plate races. More so Atlanta than the other ones, but still had a top 10 run at Talladega earlier in the year. But just not a whole lot of fantasy upside, I don't think.
Unfriend you.
Hold on.
I'd unfriend you. That's not how it works.
I think he's someone that I sort of have to have a little bit of. He was a complete non-factor here. I think he was just stuck in the back for the whole race. Like, I can't tell if he had an issue or something. I don't remember exactly, but he was just running like 30th or worse, like the entire race at Daytona. I feel like something definitely happened to him like early on. So it's kind of a wash there. But yeah, we've seen him just be crazy at Atlanta. I think his craziness at Atlanta definitely feeds into his reputation now. I think people are less likely to let him get away with that shit. It's just Hocevar is just Chastain, except for Chastain starts the big wreck and then comes out alive. Hocevar just fucking wrecks all the goddamn time. Him and Gragson, dude, just the fact like them together with Austin Hill in the same field is just scary.
Yeah, and Chastain has done a lot to repair his reputation that Carson Hocevar has not done. So there's a lot more people in this field that would happily push Chastain to a win than would push Hocevar to a win. SVG starting 17th. Just kind of the thing about SVG is he races. Like, he does not hang back. He tries to go. He tries to lead laps, which is good to see, but doesn't necessarily lead to a lot of fantasy confidence. So probably pretty low owned there. Ty Gibbs. How crazy, or I don't know, crazy, funny, silly would it be if this was the race that Ty Gibbs got his first win at after being hyped as a generational prospect for so many years? He wins the Harrison Burton race and makes the playoffs.
He's got his track types backwards. Every other track type we see wrecks all the time. Look at his finishes at super speedways. He's consistent. It looks like someone's like short track history.
Yeah, and you want to.
Fine.
He's really fine, and you want to talk Brad Keselowski probably being the main character for the Ford manufacturer. Got to imagine Ty Gibbs fills that role for Toyota. I mean, most weeks at this point, but definitely this week. Toyota's main goal with this race has to be to get a guy like Ty Gibbs into victory lanes, and to a lesser extent Eric Jones or John Hunter Nemechek. But yeah, Ty Gibbs is going to be the one that the Gibbs guys are pushing.
Yeah, he's got to be on the offensive, as where Reddick is just the one on the defensive for Toyota, and everyone else is pretty much either locked in or their legacy.
Yeah, so definitely you can make a case for playing a little bit of Ty Gibbs because I suspect he will be the main character for Toyota.
Brady, check the score. So let's say Ty Gibbs repeats his fifth place performance, his fifth place finish from the last time. So that gets us where, 52?
Yeah, we just need a handful of fast laps or a few lead laps, and he's grazing. It's really the ownership that we're attacking here.
There's a path there. There's a path there, but he probably needs to finish top 3.
Yeah, that's probably. I mean, you're really chasing a Ty Gibbs win here, more than anything. Obviously, a win gets you in, a fifth gets you close. But yeah, you're really chasing the narrative that Ty Gibbs is going to be able to compete for a win when it comes down to it. And he's done a good job of putting himself in position to do that. It's just a matter if you can close it out, and the added incentive that the other Toyota drivers have to push him along.
Look at the implied probabilities here, Brady. So he's got 1.5% to win. Okay, that's pretty low. But they're giving him a 9%, which is pretty reasonable, 9% top 5.
9% ownership.
So
yeah, and that's about right. Like at 9%, if he hits top 5, we're dancing. We're dancing with the devil there. If he hits a top 5, he's right there.
Yeah, so you can make a lot of cases for Ty Gibbs, especially more so than Hocevar or SVG or even Ross Chastain.
I might refriend him at this point.
Hey,
there you
keep
go.
him in there for a couple points.
We're getting to the range where this range you saw, it's not still you're going to be in love with like the BJ McLeods of the world, but this is the range where you kind of get your low owned. Like if you're putting a salary or an ownership cap on your DS run, you're going to get some more of these guys, and this might be what makes the nuts for people.
Taco, I could show it on screen, man. I took my heavily P-own limited run yesterday. Took I think 3rd in in the mini max. So it was a pretty good run. It was significantly better than the exact same settings without the cap, which, 90th place in the 10 or something like that.
I gotta imagine there's a good chance that if you go from probably like Kyle Busch, I would say, down to Bubba Wallace, Ty Dillon, somebody here is going to have a real good shot at the optimal. So you got to consider that.
Thoughts. So with this group, I just had a thought for how to construct lineups. What are your guys' thoughts on an at most one of rule for this group here? Maybe like, let's call it. I don't know if I'd include Keselowski in that. I kind of would. Like Keselowski, Gibbs, Chastain, McDowell, Dinger, Wallace, definitely. Like in at most one, or in Busher, or at most two, maybe.
I'd
don't
say
know.
once you hit Wallace, the group, it kind of changes, and it gets to that point where the plays start becoming really, really good. I don't know. That would get rid of my all 30s lineups, which while they don't win GPPs, they cash in GPPs significantly. I almost treat super speedway weeks like cash. Like I'm playing a lot of cash. I'm playing way more cash lineups than I usually would. And I don't have one cash lineup. I have like a rotation of like, I think it's 8 right now. Just because I don't want to go all in on one play. Yeah, you're just rotating in all those kind of guys. I'm really about profit. Like yesterday, just made a solid profit just grinding the snakes because people are really stupid. They still are. It's just, I don't know. This week, just chasing the optimal, you're going to, if you're trying to win the big tournament, I think that is a pretty good strategy to kind of attack this like lower owned range or just mess with the total owned limit on the DS. That's definitely a way to go.
Yeah, and I think that's such an important point, and I know I've harped on this in the past. You really need to identify what your strategy or what your goals are for a slate like this. Is it to go win a GPP? Because the way you're going to construct your lineups is way different than if you're going to play the taco way and just grind out kind of cash results and even play cash type lineups in GPPs just to get the 2x or the 2.5x. You can't halfway do it. You can't, I'll put a couple of GPP winners and then it doesn't work. And I think that's where people get frustrated, where they, they're winning back 80% of their entry fees just because they're going half and half. You have to commit to a strategy before you do your lineup runs. I'm going to win a GPP here, or I'm going to, double, triple, 2.5x my money here. It's a very different approach. And if you don't identify it, you're going to end up just kind of with 0.7 of your entry fees back. We can probably blow through a couple of these pretty quick because they're very similar type plays. Ross Chastain and Michael McDowell's. Chastain doesn't need to win, just probably grinds out a good finish, low risk type of play, but with not a ton of upside. Michael McDowell needs to win this race, has been competitive on plate races in the past, especially in the next gen era. As of late, a lot of kind of top 15 runs. None of these runs would probably be good enough though. He needs an outlier type of run to be relevant. AJ Allmendinger, another, needs to win, but just doesn't start quite far enough back to invest in. I'll skip down to Ty Dillon because he's kind of in the same boat. But I do want to stop on Bubba Wallace, who is borderline an A tier. I would don't even see borderline. I'd say at this point he is an A tier plate racer who has some goals in this race. Not necessarily. I suspect they want him helping Tyler Reddick just get a good defensive finish and make the playoffs. But I also suspect Bubba Wallace is a fantastic pusher. He's a great manipulator of the draft. I wouldn't be surprised to see Toyota leverage the fact that he's already locked into the playoffs to help a Ty Gibbs or help a John Hunter Nemechek or a Riley Herbst, even his teammate.
I think Bubba's really good at finishing these races, which is honestly a good skill to have here. Doesn't take too crazy of risks. And you can see it like just that the finishes are absurd. He may have one of the best track histories here. And it's for a reason. This is his best track type for sure. And starting back in the 20s, I mean, I would probably play him starting up to like 15th. Like this is nice, and his ownership isn't going to be crazy because I think people are going to focus more on the guys a bit lower down. So this range has like some really good pivots. I don't know if we're skipping past Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon is really interesting because this car is fast as fuck all speed weeks in Daytona. This car was impressive, and also he's a slave to track history, and he's really good here. He's always been really good here.
Yeah, I think the thing that scares me about Ty Dillon is these finishes that are so good are because his car was not fast and he just wasn't in the pack and grinded out. This finish was because he was fast. The Daytona 500 this year wasn't necessarily that chaotic, and he had a really legitimate top 15 finish. But a fast car also comes with risk, and that's why I think Ty Dillon in this situation is a much different play than Ty Dillon back in this when he had really solid top 10 runs in a row. Because I think Ty Dillon is in a position to race, and if you're in a position to race, you're in a position to wreck. So I think there's a little more risk associated with Ty Dillon than usual here.
It is a great point. And then him and Allmendinger are pretty much the same play, same manufacturer, same odds.
Yeah. So let's pause because we're about to get into the shit. This is where this slate will be won and lost from Chris Buescher down. I want to bang through some comments. Where did we leave off? I don't know. Jim says thank. Yeah, you're welcome. RCO go back to back. I think that was you made a good point. Kyle Busch, a fender away from winning this race last year. He probably could have won that race. If I remember correctly, he was in position to kind of wreck Harrison Burton and didn't. But yeah, desperately needs a win and definitely a guy you could have circled as a potential race winner. Bell doesn't really have anything to race for today. I think I'm just to limit my pool. Yeah,
Bell, I'm with you there. There's just, if you don't have anything that stands out to me, I'm just going to eliminate it. I like keeping the pool smaller and just running my permutations through.
Just checking here. Can confirm Daytona 25. Geek's still struggling to get that shut down. So if you want to head over to dfsarmy.com, the link is in the description. You can get signed up. Your first month, half off in NASCAR. Okay, let's get into the Chris Buescher on down. If I can find the right sheet here. There it is. Boom. Chris Buescher needs a win here. Chris Buescher has been very good here, but often the companion to Brad Keselowski. A lot of the times you'll see those guys on each other's bumpers. And the question is it just a matter of who ends up in front of the other at the right time? Or is this is there an effort to get one of these guys versus the other into the playoffs? It's a really tough question, but I do think Chris Buescher will be a popular play and probably for good reason tonight.
I mean, he's one of my favorite plays, if not my favorite play on the entire slate. Starting pretty damn far back for a forward. He's got all the right friends. They're just very good at finishing. Also, smart, conservative racer. A lot to like here. And he's starting 24th, which is good. It's in the back of the field, but not that far back where he becomes overly chalk. He's not going to have, like Chase Elliott is going to be overly chalk. You could easily make the case from a fade of him in GPP. I think Buescher's just a solid guy to take a shit ton of. Yeah,
and a guy I think you could be comfortable stacking with a Keselowski or maybe even with a Priest, because you see so often these guys end up on each other's bumpers and end up having pretty similar finishes. We saw it in this race last year, 8th and 10th for Keselowski and Buescher. A couple years ago, 1st and 2nd in this exact same race. So these guys tend to work together pretty well, and there's definitely some correlation between their as thin of a correlation as you can have at Daytona, I think exists between Keselowski and Buescher.
Yeah, and I had hand built my $12, and that's exactly the path I went. I just stacked all of RFK together.
Yeah, and you can definitely see, I mean, Keselowski, maybe doesn't win, ends up 3rd. That's pretty close, considering he'll probably get some fast laps, and then Buescher right behind him in 5th. There's a very easy path for these guys both to hit optimal.
I mean, 2023 fall race.
He needs a lot of lead laps. That is not, I mean, it's going to be tough for Keselowski.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. Keselowski does lead laps here, and the field is comfortable with Keselowski leading a line. So
yeah, when he's up front, he doesn't give up the lead ever. He's the best at it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only the only difference between a guy like Keselowski in 10th versus like a Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, usually I'm just unchecking the top 15, but I will give a little pause to Keselowski specifically here.
Main character energy from Keselowski. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. It's just so hard with Ricky Stenhouse because you see the consistency in plate racing runs, and then you get to his Daytona history. It's literally just, I'm either going to wreck or win. That's all I want to do is wreck or win. So for Geek's point earlier, these guys are a little bit riskier, but probably a guy you're going to need to win a GPP because it's literally boom or bust for Stenhouse.
The good thing about those finishes is that he's qualified outside of the top 30 in like the last 8 super speedway races. That's why he was like my easy consensus number 1 overall pick in snake drafts before qualifying. Wish I would have known I was going to get rained out, which kind of sucks. But he's just been so consistent at being able to get up to the front of the field very early and often. He has that ability. Like this, if there was anyone you would say is a super speedway ringer, it has to be Stenhouse. He's gotten several wins in the Cup Series, and he's only ever won at super speedways. Like this is his time to shine.
Ooh, Daniel's with a really, really great little factoid there in the chat.
Yeah. And you can see those finishes along with starting 30 plus each time. Yeah, of course he's going to be optimal every single time.
Yeah, that's huge.
Love a quality factoid.
That is a quality factoid. The only thing I will add is Daytona is by far Stenhouse's worst plate track. And that's just because there's no room to do anything. He can't be Stenhouse.
Which way he's gotten the most wins.
Yeah, funnily enough. But you see it. It's literally just, I'm going to win or I'm going to finish dead last. Eric Jones, fine. Another guy that's really, really capable on plate races, but does he have the race winning upside without major carnage? Probably not. But 12th here at the Daytona 500, couple top 5s in the last few plate races, and back in his Joe Gibbs days, pretty consistently running up front. So, and another guy that Toyota would desperately like to get a win here, I suspect.
Yeah, I mean, I always load up on some Jones at some super speedways. A little bit better at Talladega, I'd say. But yeah, fine play. And ownership wise, you look around here, like most of the plays around him are going to be higher owned. Like he has some decent names here. Jones probably going to go a little bit under the radar. I'll be over.
Yeah, I'm with you. I suspect I'll probably be a little bit over. Then we get to one of the most interesting plays on the slate because Tyler Reddick is the only one in this race that just needs to get points. He doesn't need to win. If he just has, I'm sure there's an actual number up there, but I assume it's around 12th, a 12th place run. He guarantees him a spot in the playoffs. So do you play the fact that he's probably not going to race in the pack? He's probably going to try to avoid most of the carnage and just have a very quiet day and finish 12th, which would be, if he finishes 12th, that's 47, not quite enough. But understand that he probably doesn't carry the race winning upside and he probably isn't going to do anything too crazy. So do you take
shift that, Brady? What if, he knows he needs 12th? You're not going to, something bad happened. But he needs 12th. That could be 9th. He's not going to slow down. So
absolutely.
Like, where's 9th get you? 54. That's in the nuts. I kind of like the idea of a Tyler Reddick waiting back, letting the carnage happen early, and then in the last 5 laps, makes his move, knows he needs to get to 12th. Bam, get to 12th. Other shit happens in front. All of a sudden, he's just randomly at 7th or 8th place. I think this guy can squeak his way into the nuts pretty comfortably.
Yeah, and a guy that really can't afford to get involved in any carnage, where a guy like Ricky Stenhouse literally has to get involved in some carnage almost. Tyler Reddick just wants to stay ahead of Alex Bowman, basically, is all he needs to do to make the playoffs. So this does feel like a pretty high floor type of play.
Yes, and that is why I have 2 words for you. FanDuel. Core play on FanDuel. And he's the only player starting above the top 30. Below, above, whatever. not starting in the 30s that I have rotated into a few of my cash games because it makes sense for cash games.
Yeah, just based on how he needs to approach this race. And listen, maybe he has different. Maybe he won't be conservative, and maybe he'll just run his race. But that would seem like a pretty silly decision given his situation.
Yeah, I mean, in cash, I mean, really, push comes to shove, would you rather have John Hunter Nemechek, who will yeehaw it if needed, or Tyler Reddick, who is not going to yeehaw it, just starts a few spots further up?
Yeah, I mean, if Tyler Reddick is sitting in 5th coming to the white flag, Tyler Reddick is going to finish 5th or higher because he is not going to move from whatever position he is. He's not going to make any crazy moves, I wouldn't think. So a very high floor play.
But that's
go ahead.
nuts, right? Like he
absolutely
he needs to be is like bordering on the nuts. It's so close. I like it, man. This stands out to me as a really good spot. Yeah.
Geek is going to have a ton of Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs lineups.
I don't know about Ty Gibbs.
We like Ty Gibbs.
I'm going to have some, but
we'll go to Todd Gilliland here, who is an interesting play from time to time, but just kind of grades out to not quite compared to some of the plays we're going to get into. And Todd Gilliland hasn't necessarily run super well at Daytona specifically.
Well, here's the thing with Todd Gilliland. Look at his finishes. His best ever finish here, 23rd. That's pretty bad, right? His average running position at Daytona is 18th. He is extraordinarily unlucky.
It seems not unlucky, Taco. This is Gilliland being too aggressive and crashing every freaking time.
Can you get unlucky 8 times in a row?
Yeah, no, he's just crashing. Yeah, he's just crashing the vehicle because he's trying to race. That's exactly the opposite of what I want. I want Reddick hanging in the back. Chaos happens. All of a sudden, the same way BJ McLeod wins this for us most of the time. He's just like half a lap behind the whole pack, and then it's a crash, and you bundle up, and all of a sudden, I'm like, how the hell do you get in 7th place? What the hell's going on?
So, funny enough about BJ, my girlfriend was watching me do snake dress last night, and she has officially donned the nickname for him as BJ McLeod.
BJ McLeod.
And that's not going anywhere.
Honestly, that's a top quality nickname right there.
Before we get too into BJ, Cole Custer, another guy just grades out as not as an exciting of a play as the group coming up here. Top 20 upside for sure, generally runs in the top 20. Not a guy that necessarily tries to compete in the pack, was pretty comfortable at the start of the Daytona 500, riding in the back, got a little more aggressive towards the end of that race, which ended up being his downfall. I suspect it's kind of the similar situation here. Just gets antsy and I think over aggressive, and in the spot, 15% seems about right.
He's got a lot to prove here. I mean, this team is in a really bad spot overall. In the Cup Series charter wise, like
this team is a missed invoice away from being Dodge next year. So
yeah,
a lot going on there, but a fine play. I mean, he's starting 29th and a very capable car, so just doesn't stand out. The next one, obviously, Chase Elliott is going to be the super whale chalk of the game, of the slate. He starts 30th. But obviously race winning upside, obviously a guy that can dominate and lead laps in this situation. Has never actually won at Daytona, but it's been very close multiple times. And you can see in his super seed way, just kind of elite pedigree here. But Taco, you said earlier, it's almost to the point where it's more interesting to fade him.
Oh yeah, I think he's going to be so popular. And the reason is his price tag. We say it every year, and yet people never change. People want to spend their salary. If you're hand building, you can't not pick Elliott because it just feels really weird. Yeah, are Elliott and say John Hunter Nemechek the same play on the slate? Pretty much. Are Elliott and Haley the same play on the slate? Pretty much. Your average user is going to click on Chase Elliott, and so I think in GPP it makes a lot of sense to fade or heavily go underweight. That being said, he does have the skill set going for him where he is an extremely good race finisher, very conservative. So it makes the fade a little harder, but that's also going to be why people play him. Yeah, he's wrecked out of the last 2 races after finishing the first 20, but just overall, Hendrick and Chevy overall seem to be very comfortable with him leading the Chevy line, which is good for him overall. But yeah, I mean, I think just ownership wise is kind of donkey to just load up on a bunch of Elliott.
Yeah, for sure. And what I like to, I mean, in this situation, what I've done a lot of times is just do a full run of full fade Chase Elliott with my other projections intact and just dump that full run into one of the mini maxes or one of the late mini maxes that opens. And that just covers a lot of your bases. Obviously, it doesn't feel great, but you can't play a guy at 60. Like, how do you get leverage on Chase Elliott? Are you just going to lock him? Like, you can't do that at a place like Daytona in a situation like this. So just kind of takes himself out of being an interesting play based on how highly owned you have to play him to get leverage.
Mm-hmm.
If you set up that ownership cap as I was referring to earlier, it will naturally pull him out of a lot of lineups, just like because he's the highest owned guy. But I think years and years of playing Daytona last night, if you've just played Xfinity, it should drill home the lesson that in Daytona, there is not any driver that's worthy of over 50% exposure. Even worse if they're chalk. Like, you're right. You should just uncheck this, or 30%, go half. And if he does it, okay, cool. But if he gets knocked out, even though you have 30% exposure, when he comes out of the race and he's 57% owned, if he comes out, all your lineups are doing better. Like, your total winnings just start shooting up, even though you took 30% of the guy and you're like, shit, I have 30%. It doesn't matter, because if the field is going to be 55 to 60% on one driver, you're much better off watching a race, rooting for him to fail one way or another. And that's where you're like, if I went 100% Chase and he wins this, like, him getting to first, it's not even going to help my lineups that much. It's not going to notice it.
No,
so,
it doesn't help at all. If you're interested, if you're that interested in Chase Elliott, just go bet him to finish top 10. You'll probably make more money if you put a decent bet on him to finish top 10, which is what? I mean, I'm sure you can find better odds than that. I'm sure you can find plus 100 for him to finish top 10 somewhere, and you'll make more money doing that than
I don't know what those foreign odds you have on your sportsbook screen are.
I know. Listen, I don't use decimal odds either. This
is whoa.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
No, listen, the Taco, we use American odds here. You know what? Let's get to DraftKings. We're
not even American.
I don't even know what I'm seeing on screen. Is this meters? Is that meters the guy is? Is that height? What are those numbers?
I'm with you. I can't use decimal odds. There, look at this.
Perfect.
How about that? Chase Elliott minus 120 for a top 10. That's a much better play than locking him into your fantasy lineup.
This I understand. That other thing, it looked like Greek writing on the screen. I don't know what the hell.
It's how much money you'd get back if you bet $1. It's so simple. What is this?
No, this is how real bettors.
Taco is literally arguing for European odds.
Unless it comes to odds
on DFS Army. This isn't Sacre Blue Army over here, Taco.
We are throwing out 0 at the end of everyone for no reason. Come on.
Yeah, but anyway, all that to say, Chase Elliott, probably a guy you want to fade. If you're that interested in it, go find different ways to attack him.
I mean, compared to Priest, look at the odds. Priest has better odds. Elliott's going to be significantly higher owned.
Yeah, and Priest,
they're the same play.
Is the exact same play, and I mean, Priest probably comes with a little more desperation and a little more risk because he does need to win. But again, slightly correlated with Buescher and Keselowski, is this just a situation where we're going to join up and whichever one of, we're not going to race each other, whichever one ends up in front, we're going to push that guy to the win. And if Brian Priest is a part of that plan, then, he's going to finish 6th along with Buescher at 3rd and Keselowski winning or whatever order it comes in, and he's going to hit the optimal. So I would argue that Ryan Priest is almost a better play than Chase Elliott across the board.
Yeah.
I think in every metric, he's a better play.
Absolutely.
In every metric.
It's just people are so scared to leave money on the table. Like, Elliott is going to be a comfort pick, especially if you're bad.
And I'll go one further. Yeah, just hope Priest is cursed that they.
That's all people remember about Priest here. It's like, he can't keep the car on all 4 wheels.
You want to talk about a better play than both of them? Let's talk about Noah Gragson.
Let's go.
The leader in incident rate in the entire series,
who has hit the optimal 3 times. Oops. I mean, listen, 2 times. We can't count Parker Retzlaff, but 2 times he's hit the optimal. Listen, a lot of that is because he does not qualify at Daytona, has a lot of bad starts, and even a situation where he started 39th and didn't hit the optimal. But usually when Noah starts in the 30, he hits the optimals. He's really good at plate racing. And you're going to get him at probably, 30% lower than Chase Elliott and probably at least 15% lower than Ryan Preece.
Wait, Brady, let me slow this down. Is he just good at Daytona? This guy crashes everywhere else.
He is the leader in incident rate in the entire series, at the highest incident race of the entire year. That's my only concern with him here. But ownership-wise, it's beautiful.
But just Daytona, it just all changes and he's fine. Wait,
here's the thing with Noah Gragson wrecks a lot, but he doesn't tend to wreck big.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be involved in a wreck. You're going to have to, if you play Gragson, he's going to see his car going backwards at some point. But he doesn't tend to be in catastrophic wrecks because he's usually the one starting them, and the one starting them usually gets the worst of it. And he just qualifies poorly, and he's got a poor qualifying position here again. So he ends up, like I said, just being the same play as Chase Elliott and Ryan Preece. Almost across the board, if not better, because you get easy leverage on him. Hits the optimal.
Mm-hmm.
Riley Herbst, on the other hand, I don't know. Riley Herbst
hits the wall.
You would imagine that a big part of Bubba Wallace's job today would be to help out Riley Herbst, but is that even?
They don't care.
Something, yeah. Like
is Herbst even going to keep that ride? I hope not.
No, they don't care. They don't care. They only care about Bubba. They do not care about helping Riley Herbst over here. No.
Well, the problem is Herbst brings in the money, the dollar bills.
Yeah, Herbst is playing for that operation. But I think this is the least interesting play of this range, just because he's had pretty solid runs, but nothing standout. Like he doesn't stand out. He runs towards the front. He doesn't lay back. It's just a really kind of high risk type of play with not a lot of upside.
You see the 10th placer. You see the 10th for him and the Daytona 10th place. So if you just plug him in for a 10th place, you're going to get a 55 plus. You're going to get a big score.
Yeah. My only concern with Herbst is he is a guy that goes and tries to run with the pack, and obviously a lot of the time that ends up being his downfall. So higher risk than most.
Danger. That's not where, I want my back runners to run in the back and then only wake up during, last 10 lap chaos. I don't need them all of a sudden I look up and Herbst is in 13th place in the heart of the treacherous part of the field. So yeah.
Do you guys remember when I said Bubba may have the best track history here? Here's a guy that actually has the best track history here. So where are the track history truthers at for Mr. John Hunter Nemechek?
The people's champion, I suspect, this weekend will be John Hunter Nemechek, who starts 34th and has never finished worse than 11th at Daytona. Keep in mind, that is completely a Daytona thing for him, because you look at his other super speedway finishes, pretty uninspired, but for whatever reason gets around Daytona pretty well. And another guy, very comfortable running in the back when he needs to. Obviously, towards the end of the Daytona 500, he got a little more aggressive as the carnage began to pile up. But a guy that was very comfortable running towards the back, allowing cars to wreck, and probably going to be a little high owned, just because people look at his track history and it looks like it's really hard to stay off of. But another kind of in the same way that Tyler Reddick is high floor, I feel like John Hunter Nemechek's pretty high floor.
Now, I think with John Hunter Nemechek, the thing is, there's a lot of talk of positive regression, right? Like Todd Gilliland probably do some positive regression eventually. Ryan Preece, especially with his recent finishes, so many wrecks, due for positive regression. John Hunter, I think he's really due for negative regression. I think that track history is fake. He's very lucky. 5 races isn't the biggest sample size. And if we're looking at someone who is particularly good at Daytona, they would have also been good at in Xfinity as well, like Justin Haley, for example. John Hunter Nemechek was not very good at Daytona in Xfinity. So I think he's just been incredibly lucky. I wouldn't go chasing the track history that hard with him, but he is starting back in 34th, so he's going to be in the rotation for sure. I'll probably just play him around where the field is where some of the guys around him lower owned than him. I'll be definitely pushing the over on the exposure there.
Absolutely. Which brings us to our Daytona DFS GOAT, Cody Ware, who I believe when I checked this earlier had been in the optimal 3 times in the next gen era. Look at that. Beautiful.
2 of the last 3 night races as well.
2 of the last 3 night races, has hit the optimal starting 35th, by the way, which is exactly where he starts here. Cody Ware, and you can see it in this is the Daytona 500. Is this last year or the Daytona 500?
This is the Daytona 500.
Daytona 500. So we go to Cody Ware. Where did Cody finish? He finished like 14th, didn't he?
I'll take it.
He's just hanging in the back.
There he is. There. Yeah, look. Boom. I'm going to stay back here all day. I'm going to finish 25th. It's really just a guy that does not have any interest in running in the pack.
That version was not as
can't run in the back.
Yeah, listen.
I was hoping for a much more exciting ending to that one. Then I'm going to finish 25th. Let's give me the one before that.
But listen, 50% of the time in the next gen era, he has hit the optimal. Just a really strong play. Now, usually there isn't as many strong plays underneath him. Austin, we'll talk about them, but there's some other strong plays. So definitely don't load up on Cody Ware. But where most weeks he is on immediate unfriend, this is a week where you can definitely play some Cody Ware.
I think you should. I think pre-qualifying, Cody Ware was going 2nd overall in snake drafts, as he should, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you can load up on any of these guys, really. Any of them, even very, very bottoms. I think all of these guys are in play. I think the right move is to just rotate in between them all because they're just.
There's a few of them that I'm concerned about. Like, is Joey Gase somebody that you can really?
Gase would be the one that would concern me the most.
Joey Gase is so a lot of some guys choose to stay out of the pack. Joey Gase would be the one that doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, that car is not capable of running with the pack. I wouldn't guess.
44. I think it didn't make the 500.
I think you're right. So that would be the one that concerns me the most. But Austin Hill will be in RCR gear. Obviously, RCR Cup is a lot different than RCR Xfinity, but Austin Hill is still an elite plate driver in RCR equipment. Won't have a lot of friends in this field for good reason. Has not done much for his reputation, but still a guy that's in elite equipment, can easily drive into the top 20 and has in this exact same situation. Justin Haley, obviously a very, very good plate racer, was very good in Xfinity, has got some decent runs at Daytona in the next gen era. So very viable. BJ McLeod only here because he's sold his charter for $1 bazillion and just runs the race that he wants to run. Has a very capable car in these situations, has more money than a lot of the field. And Casey Mears, I've heard they got an ECR engine for this car. So this car will be very competitive as well. So any of these guys are very playable, and Joey Gase is still playable just in the fact that he's starting 40th. And if they manage to keep that car glued to the ground for 160 laps, he'll probably finish in the top 25.
Here's the thing. Just from a metrics perspective, for Joey Gase to get there and be in the winning lineup, top 25, not going to do it. But for him to get there effectively, what's happening in that scenario is a lot of carnage has happened. That's why Joey Gase is in the conversation. That's a given. Like, this guy is not going to be there if there's not carnage. But if there is all that carnage, he also has to kind of keep up with Casey Mears and McLeod and Haley and all these other guys. So his pathway to hanging around is going to be a little tougher because he not only has to like survive. I could see him finishing 20th in a carnagey race where he was in the back. That certainly can happen. Even 18th. But is that going to be that much better than like Haley or Hill or Mears or McLeod, or where if they survive, they'll probably be like 13th or 14th. They'll be a few spots forward. So it's a tougher slog for someone like probably I would just numbers wise in my mind for someone like Joey Gase, who maybe doesn't really even have, much hope of anything other than kind of being at the back of whatever pack is finishing.
Yeah, these people, it's just going to be, you kind of almost don't really want to take a stand here because all these guys starting the very back, they have like one specific thing that's holding them back. whether it be them or their ownership. So like Nemechek, Haley, by far the best plays on paper here. They're going to be really high owned. Austin Hill, not a full-time racer. There's a concern there. Casey Mears. I mean, look at the last time he raced here, 2019. It's just been a long time. So there's the rust issue there. Gaze has the equipment issues. Easily the worst car in the field. Kind of leaves my man BJ is the most consistent play here, even though I guess his issue would be he is the worst on the odds charts.
Yeah, and listen, BJ's here to have fun too.
Yeah.
BJ's, like I said, he sold his charter for $1 bazillion. He made out like a bandit. He just buys really nice race cars for the races he wants to run. And we saw that Talladega, they had a minor issue and he just drove it to the garage. Didn't really care. But if the car holds on and he doesn't have any issues, pretty consistently runs in the top 20. So to your point, all these are fine plays, but some jump out more than others.
Yeah, just mix and match, and that's exactly what I'm doing in cash here. Like, I don't have any reason to play like a McLeod over Gaze, so just playing 50% each in your cash. Like I've always really liked the multi cash line strategy here,
and they all win.
Absolutely. So there it is at a glance. Austin Hill, Andrew. My biggest concern with Austin Hill is just his reputation. He's not going to have any help through this pack. It's just going to be complete carnage that pushes him forward, I suspect. And if that's the case, does that make him any better of a play than Justin Haley or Cody Ware? It just kind of ends up being the same play. Even though Austin Hill is a great plate racer, he's not going to have the RCR advantage that he has in the Xfinity series in this situation. RCR is just not strong like that. So there it is. I mean, pretty straightforward plate slate, but a lot of decisions to make, a lot of complications when it comes to points racing and manufacturer alliances and stuff like that. Let's slip over to the odds board. Do we bother trying to pick a winner here? Taco Geek, anything jumping off the page at you here?
Win pick?
The odds are shit now, but I mean, my win pick would be Buescher.
Yeah, Buescher plus 1,400, probably still some plus 1,800s or plus 2,000s out there somewhere if you look hard enough.
I found Hard Rock is good with the lines if you're not limited, which you can do if you accidentally cough while talking to customer service.
Yeah,
I don't hate taking a shot on Bubba here.
Bubba plus 3,000.
Plus 3,000, making some money there.
And we've seen this. I think it was. I forget what race it was. It might have been Talladega, where it was the Xfinity race at Talladega, I think, where the field just kind of let Justin Allgaier win because it was a win that didn't upset the apple cart and didn't, bring anybody into the playoffs or push anything out. So you just kind of got this situation where there was a late race restart and everybody just kind of laid back and let Allgaier win because it was a situation that worked for everyone. Bubba's kind of in that situation. A Bubba win doesn't upset the apple cart for anyone here. Except maybe Alex Bowman. So, you can play it from that example too. I think I like Bubba Wallace too. I like Bubba Wallace. I do like the idea of somebody from RFK winning. I think RFK is going to have the might of the entire Ford manufacturer behind them. I could not bring myself to play Brad Keselowski at plus 900 at a plate race, but I think that's still my pick for a win is Brad Keselowski. Seems like he has the cleanest path and the most likely path to victory lane of anybody in this field. Groups head-to-heads really don't mean anything unless none of this matters to me. It doesn't matter to them.
Sorry, Buescher plus 1,800 on ESPN Bet.
There you go. So
you go.
Head over to ESPN.
I would definitely shop around. DraftKings, notoriously very tight with their lines, but probably the place to go to for live betting.
DraftKings, ESPN, I put in, I think, 4 prop bets that won in a row, and it took was that, and now I'm limited to $2.
Oh my! Well,
Like their limit.
That's $36 you could win, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like the limit speed at ESPN Bet of all of them was the fastest and the most brutal.
Also, the most clunky website there is too.
Yeah.
But soft lines are soft lines. So
Listen, we love the folks over at DraftKings here at DFS Army, but
Of course.
this plus 1,000 Kyle Busch special doesn't really do much for me when his odds are plus 1,000 anyway.
Yeah, is that the special?
Yeah, 990 people have played this Kyle Busch special that's also available just on the regular odds board.
They got sucked in.
But yeah, that's all there is to it, man. We're back to normal racing.
I wish I
next
could
week.
bet the opposite of these. I want to bet
God,
minus
yeah.
200 that the Team Penske drivers won't finish in the top 10.
I wish the exchanges.
How do I
started
bet
partnering
against
with
that?
NASCAR?
Yeah.
Probably price picks, right? Like, price picks just across the board. Historically, you can just
Under.
worse. Yeah, it's been the
Let's
way to
see.
go.
Worthwhile to check if I can even.
I want to see Brady log in. We'll get your name, your password, all that stuff.
I should be able to see the odds board without having to log in, right?
So I think maybe underdog's better because they've got more options for over under. I think on price picks you gotta like go over under on the cars pass, but fastest laps also. They've kind of dialed them in for real. Like they're all 4.5 or whatever.
Yeah,
Like William Byron 4.5, you can pretty safely go under because he's just gonna run up front most of the race, but it's not as soft pickings as it used to be. Like the first time that I didn't have price picks in my state when it first came out for like the Daytona 500, and it was so ridiculous. It had like Chase Elliott's like over under 5.5 finishing position. Like, well,
yeah, they've got the fastest laps dialed in here, but any of these cars passed. I mean, not a whole lot of options here. Laps led.
yeah, like it's giving Kyle Busch over under 10.5 finishing position pretty much, which is a pretty fair under.
Dude, go. I mean, that Blaney under 32 laps led is the lock button of the year. Like just less. Yeah, just less. Logano less.
Well, I don't know. It's just with Penske, usually they're just kind of like a 0.1 of the 4 to just lead the laps, you know.
This is Daytona. You don't get to lead here for long periods of time.
No.
Every lap takes like 5 minutes to play out on screen. Like, 23 laps is like 2 hours into the race.
See if, similar. Just copied their lines over at. But yeah, finishing position here on pick 6. You can literally just go, okay, worse, enter. And you can do 6 different iterations of that and hope you end up with something. But yeah,
this is not. I mean, if I had access to pick 6, that's exactly what I'd be doing right now. I'd be rolling through just this and just these guys are going to crash. Like half of the field doesn't finish the race, or they're all clunked apart and cars freaking with duct tape all over it. Like that's how Daytona goes. You just make a bunch of those under parlays and you're going to hit one.
Yeah. And
you're going to hit many of these. Yeah.
Pick 6 is pari-mutual too. So even if you only get 5 correct, chances are you're going to get closer to like 3 or 4x on your money just for 5x, because there's going to be so many dead slips based on people trying to
increase 11.5 is kind
everybody
of
watching this podcast right now is pretending that they know and know the word pari-mutual and what that is. And like, guys, stop pretending. You have no idea, just like I did.
It has a root word. Oh, you can figure it out.
But that was very smart words, Brady.
It's pari-mutual pools. Don't you guys like horse betting?
What?
So the way pick 6 works is everybody puts their money into a pot, and DraftKings has to give away that money. They just take a vig, whereas prize picks, if we all put in 4 pick lineups and they all lose, prize pick just keeps all that money.
Oh, it's a tournament. Oh, okay. So it's a tournament. So it's not specifically depend. Oh, I didn't even know that. So there you go. Don't have pick 6 in New York.
That's probably why is the just the state specific rules regarding that kind of sweepstake.
So if you put in a 2-pick lineup and you're the only 2-pick lineup that wins somehow, some way, you could get like 1,000x because you win the entire pool. So
I'm gonna mention, because the guys in the chat are asking about ownership. So when I ran my when I didn't cap it, and I'm curious to what you guys are getting. When I didn't cap ownership, I think the highest I was able to generate was about like 190, maybe 198.
It's gonna be a little bit different Xfinity to Cup Series here.
No, I mean for this
A
one,
little
I'm
bit
running
more
lineups right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
No, I'm doing that right. I'm not,
Oh,
it's
for
different
sure.
races. No, I'm running lineups now, and the highest I get with no cap is 208%. Right. So, you know, what's a comfortable number? Grim says 170. I say, okay, 170 is cool, but there's nothing wrong with squeezing it more aggressively down to 150, 140. It's about how aggressive. The more aggressive you get with those limits, effectively, the less of chalk Chase Elliott, chalk maybe Killer Priest, whoever these high owned guys, you're just going to get less of them. And so it's a comfort thing, right? How aggressive do you want to be? How low can you go? I think if you went to 140, 130, that's okay too. Like go very aggressive, try to win. A lot of people on other sites use like everything is built around low ownership that gives you more leverage against the field no matter what you're doing. Again, it worked yesterday. I think it works on all DFS contests across the board. So I just think be aggressive with it. Be as aggressive as you're comfortable with. 170 Grim Aries, that's a comfortable number. You're still going to get, but you know, I don't have a problem. Let's say you're running like the Minimax as well, or some cheaper contest you want to really kind of get off chalky on. Go down to 150, 140. Go for it. Get super unique with your lineups. You might find that you have really good results.
And also, it depends on like what are you doing with Chase Elliott?
Yeah.
Like Chase Elliott is clearly by far going to be the highest owned guy. If you want to check him, I bet it would be hard to even get to 170.
Well, that's the difference. Yeah, I mean that's really. I just removed my cap to rerun it, and it does 100% Chase Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
So, and with my cap on, I'm getting like 30%.
Yeah, because and he's barely projected over the next highest, which would be like what, Chris Buescher or something, like Nemechek, Haley, around there. Like it's just the way that the optimizer is, it's just like, oh, I can afford the person that's projected the most points. Why would he not be in every lineup?
Yeah,
that's why we got to
force him. It's absolutely going to force him in every lineup unless you account for it. The optimizer is giving us the best cash lineup, right? We have to, unless we're manipulating it, creating rules. This is across all sports. So everybody listening, I mean, when you're using the optimizer, this is, I think, a miss that a lot of people have in their mind about using optimization tools and lineup building. The lineup it's giving you is designed for cash games. It's not designed to take down a tournament. It's the opposite of that. So it's the rules we put in, the limits, the adjustments that take it from this cash game sort of machine to, hey, what am I going to do to try to win a tournament? And the biggest factor of it all is definitely ownership and leveraging low ownership spots. So everybody got to kind of have to figure that out on their own. But,
And what's the first thing you do? The first thing you do is limit the max exposure because you're not playing 100% anyone. You're not even playing 50% anyone. And do you need a dominator for today? Absolutely freaking not.
Nope.
We are using at most one, if not completely fading all the dom. I'm not playing any dominators outside of Keselowski, so I'm not using any rules because, I mean, Keselowski is going to be the only guy in like the top 15 that's even in the player pool, so he's just going to go have fun. But yeah, we do not need a lap leader. We've seen I remember several years ago, like Stenhouse started on the pole, led a bunch of laps, won the race, not close to optimal.
Pole sitter, I remember that very well. Wins the race, still not optimal.
Yeah.
If you ever needed to know why you unfriended the pole sitter, that was it. I mean,
the not fun part. Yay.
Uh-oh.
Here we are.
I mean, get ready for this all night. This is just Daytona in the summer and this time of year. About 50% chance of rain for the next month. So there's also that to keep aware of. Radar looks fine now, but who knows? There could be some weather and lightning delays tonight.
It would be a disaster if they actually just stopped the race short. I think we had that once, and David Reagan just randomly won a Daytona or one of these type of tracks.
That was Haley.
Haley did it. Yeah.
Haley won for no reason. So
I know David Reagan won a race once too that he had no.
Oh yeah, way back the day of the 500.
Yeah. It was on like a weird pit thing also that kind of got him there. But What do we think in terms of the possibility? Are they going to, like, let's say it starts just pouring. NASCAR likely to delay, or they come back tomorrow. What do you think the most likely action from NASCAR is? Let's say it's late in the race.
Do you remember when Austin Dillon got sent into the catch fence? That happened at like 1:30 a.m. They will go late as hell.
Yeah, they will do a lot more than usual to get the qualifying race, the last race of the regular season in. They have shown pretty consistently they will go above and beyond to run the full.
That's
distance.
what I wanted to know. Are they gonna just be like, all right, fuck it, shut it down, or are they gonna be like, this is middle Florida, the storm of a lifetime, it could be coming down, and 25 minutes later, it's just sunny and beautiful. You're like, wow, this is a crazy place. So I'm just wondering on that note, because the one thing that will mess with the best laid plans of mice and chaos men would be just randomly stopping the race. I'm looking. I build a whole lineup set for like the last 10 laps of chaos. And if we don't get there, you're probably not going to get the carnage that you're hoping for.
Yeah, I think we've seen that they will definitely do whatever they can to run the full distance here. Where it gets tricky is if they're past halfway and, it's 1 a.m. and there's lightning and rain. But I think you'll see them try to get most of this race in, whether that is tonight or tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, you still have Sunday. That's right. You still have Sunday. NASCAR Sunday.
So there could be very much racing tomorrow as well. Geek, I already did the sales pitch. Do you want to do the more professional version that you're so good at?
Well, I'm just going to say this. I don't authorize giving away all these gimmies, but we are literally, it's college football weekend started now. I know you don't do other sports, Brady.
Let's go.
College football is happening right now. NFL is less than 2 weeks away. And realistically, week 1 coverage is starting next week. So this is that time to get involved. Since this is a NASCAR podcast, I don't think these are anybody who's listening to this, you really are not a candidate for NFL only. You should be here on VIP. Listen, you can go to other sites. One subscription for NASCAR for some shitty ass people who don't know anything, who aren't Taco and aren't Brady, still costs you $60-$70 a month. And it's less good. Or stick around here, VIP, not NASCAR only. You do your monthly VIP. We have a 50% off monthly VIP for your first month. New members, promo code NFL 2025. That's for VIP monthly, and that's really the one that people should do. You get
then you get all the sports. I mean, it's MMA. Fun. Like today, right now, I'm looking at MMA. I crushed MMA. I don't know a goddamn thing about MMA.
There, it's nonstop, and even esports. We do League of Legends. If you're up at 2 a.m. and you're like, I need to scratch my DFS itch, it's going on here at DFS Army. The Discord community is spectacular. The research stations, the help, the cheat sheets, all of that stuff, and of course we go all out for NFL like nothing else. The showdowns, everything. We're at the precipice. We're at the start of the season, and one of the reasons I recommend sign up now. Don't wait till 2 days before NFL. You're missing out. All the training has been happening. I'm 14 weeks into back testing the entirety of the 2024 season. And oh, by the way, been testing out my theory about lower ownerships, and it absolutely has proven very effective in back testing as well, being aggressively low on ownership caps. Other sites are selling something called contest simulations. You charge you $300 a month, and it's only doing the same thing, which is why I picked up on this. What's a contest simulation? It's just looking for lineups that you create that are low owned compared to the field. Well, we have the same thing. It's called capping the ownership, right? That's all you need to do. Get that ownership lower. There's no special miracle that's happening behind the scenes anywhere else. That's why the domination station continues to produce winner after winner across all sports. So get in here, promo code NFL 2025, 50% off your first month of VIP. If you don't like it, you're good. Cancel. It was great knowing you. No hard feelings. But if you do enjoy it, you become part of our community. And this is our hobby. We all love it. We all talk about it. We all root each other on. And we all, everybody's here to help everybody else's success. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful place. And it's an adventure NFL season. It's a nonstop roller coaster. I don't want to get off. It's a super fun thing. So we're at the start right now. We're on that coaster. We're going up the hill. You know how you're like, oh shit, I think I changed my mind. You know, and it's pulling you up that especially when, you know what I'm saying? You're going up, and we're about to launch over the precipice on the roller coaster. Be along for the ride. Promo code 2025 NFL 2025. Let's go.
It's gonna be our biggest season ever. I promise you that, because I'm working on it.
There we go.
I'm putting everything into this. It's going to be a big season. There's going to be a ton of content. And I think this will be one of the best years ever to be a part of the DFS Army family. That link is in the bio, or head over to dfsarmy.com. Promo code NFL 25. Is that what you said?
NFL 2025.
2025. 50% off. And those promo codes won't be around forever. Once the floodgates open.
No, week one, they're gone. They are gone week one. So we're still not quite NFL week one yet, or the lead up to week one. It's going to be gone. So like effectively, if it's September 1st, all the codes are taken away, because, hey, full price, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we need people coming in here at full price, but that's why we do these promos in August. Come in early, loyal, do the prep work, do the back test work. We've had preseason, a lot of success in the preseason as well, and now we're getting into the main. That's why we do it. Come in a little early, give you a nice discount, but those are gone week one. So I highly recommend everybody go and get signed up now if you're not. Most people who are watching this probably already signed up, but if you aren't, get in there.
Mm-hmm. And
unless it's those trolls, by the way, in the chat, they don't have to come. Not welcome here.
Listen, come to the NASCAR. We'll take care of NASCAR. Well, head over to the NASCAR part.
Let me put it like this. Part of the great thing about our community and our forums is there's no trolls in there. If you think you're going to come in and troll, that ain't going to work out. You're going to be gone quick. We don't take.
Hey, you can troll me. I don't care. I'll have fun with you.
No.
I will say, and I mentioned this at the top, next week for sure, and probably for the next couple of weeks, where all the focus kind of shifts to NFL. We're going to start doing at least the Xfinity and the Truck podcast behind the paywall. So if you want to be involved with those, get signed up right away. The link's in the bio to get all signed up for those. But we'll still do these Cup Series ones.
I was so close yesterday, Brady. Third place. I was like,
listen,
I was feeling it.
It's all uphill from here. We've got some really good slates coming down the bend. So what do we got? 3.5 hours to lock, maybe 3.5 hours to racing. We'll see how the weather plays out. But I guess we just leave it there. We still managed. Me and Taco started this podcast by saying there wasn't a whole lot to talk about, so it'd probably be a shorter one. And here we are at an hour and a half again. Yeah.
I almost want to mention a good strategy for, I guess, your more intermediate to advanced users of the DS. If you're doing a multi-run, like say you want to do a run in one contest and a different run in another, I think a very good one to do this week is one run for if there is massive carnage, fire in the stands. Austin Dillon's upside down in two pieces, and that's got the heavier exposure to your BJ McLeods, your Joey Gazes, like they're pushed up to like 40% or whatever. And then another run for if it's just, there are some wrecks or whatever, but it's not like say it's canceled or something, like it just kind of stops there. There isn't that ginormous wreck that allows for the guys at the very, very, very back to push in, focusing maybe more on your classical place differential plays, maybe more of like the Eric Jones or the Nemecheks, the Elliots or whatever that can just get place differential just based on regular ass speed while the guys in the back kind of, don't really do the whole thing. There are many other strategies you can come up with just using the grouping tools and whatnot. So many different ways you can attack that. And a lot of it is just getting comfortable with, again, like you had said earlier, what your strategy is going to be, what you want out of your lineups here. So race like this with salary being off the table, many different ways to be creative and win that money here.
Just commit to a strategy. Good life advice. Just commit to something. Don't half-ass three different strategies. Just send it on one strategy. Be the guy that does that strategy better than anyone, and you'll win a tournament maybe. Mm-hmm. Cool. I'm losing my voice, so I got to end this. If you guys want to stick around and talk to Mr. Cider, you're more than welcome to, but I'm about to lose my voice, so I got to end.
Shut it down, Brady.
All right. We'll leave it there. Everybody have a great slate, and we will talk again sometime next week. Geek will be back with best ball streams and backtesting streams on Monday. It all kicks off this week. So enjoy your weekend, and we will see everyone next week.